Did you know that beavers' lodges are inside the dam? The dam is like a mountain made of dirt and mud, shaped like a pyramid, but long and stretched out from one side of the river to the other. They actually hollow out a lodge on the inside and make a tunnel from one side on the outside of the river, going across through the inside underneath, making a lodge on the inside and coming out the other side. And the ancient pyramids actually used this technology. And they used sticks and other various resources and kindle jammed across the top to account for flood control. And the Freemasons actually took this symbol and used it themselves. There was this Jew on YouTube that said that the first Aryans were Jews, and I thought that that was BS, but there might actually be some truth to that, because the first Aryans were not actually the German blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryans. There were barbarians, Tartarians, Scythians, Bulgarians, Iranians, Sumerians, and Khazarians. Yiddish are Ashkenazis. Their language is like a mix of Hebrew and German, kind of like a puzzle, and their women always wear black dresses and these flat shoes. Underneath these trenches in World War II, there was this bunker that housed a super long particle hadron collider. In other words, the war's worst stage. In World War II. In California, you can grow peyote as a house plant on the porch outside your front door, but you can't grow it in any other state. I looked into this anywhere from 2015 to 2017. The laws are stupid. Colorology. Cocomelon, the internet, kindergarten. Colorology is to associate colors with objects or environments, places or times. Exposure to max 100% red, 100% yellow on the color settings, 100 green, putting kids in oversaturated environments so they associate colors with education, billboards, games, the business world, or the strip club. The world is a colorful place. You don't need a college degree to see it. I was put in the GATE test program in pre-K or daycare or preschool. They have GATE programs for gifted and talented students. The daycare has a protocol for what to do with gifted and talented kids. Preschool and pre-K have the option, but from my knowledge, it's primarily intended for grade school. They discreetly conducted a test on me, which was basically inconclusive. They handed me a couple papers with some graphs that looked like alien writing and 3D colored plastic polymer silicone shapes. I was confused as to why I was put in this room with some blonde lady who wanted me to do something with the shapes, so I attempted to grandeur a response out of her and communicate non-verbally or make noises or show actions to communicate with her in order to get her to explain to me what's going on, but all she wanted from me is to do something, and she left to consult someone on my inconclusive results, which, I was rejected from the program. You know how some kids get to skip a grade. The GATE program is for advanced learning alongside your peers. It's definitely not some secret CIA operation or anything. They want all the fights to happen to young kids in elementary and middle schools. They design it to where if you fight in elementary school, the repercussions are not as bad. They're less harsh. You suffer less repercussions for fighting in middle school. You just get suspended for fights. In high school, they have the option to expel you if necessary. They have a zero tolerance policy, drinking and smoking, stuff like that. In middle school and elementary, you seem to just be able to get away with it. Them saying it's only a small percentage and this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated scamdemic. We just got to make sure that we get this thing to stop spreading and keep it contained. It's only a small community kids who haven't been vaxxed. It's just really them saying, why don't you die? Why don't you get killed? Why don't you just roll up your sleeve and have us kill you? I admire and respect the kids that go through life with their own problems and then get beat up and get back up on their feet as if nothing happened. I respect the hell out of that, and I honor them. When you go to school, all the lights are on you. So take this list of laws, present it to them. It's what we call making a stink about it, and we can't keep letting them get away with this. We can't forget the stillbirths, the defects from this vaccine, feminizing kids, telling us to get killed. We can't stand for this. Shills don't want real justice because the system gives them a reward for their behavior towards children who are innocent, easy to be taken advantage of. They learn that, they fight using the system to get suspended. In Donald Trump's future, the law will change to suit the individual, not the other way around. They need people like me to die. They hate redheads, Bullies are sadistic, so why didn't they teach me the definition of sadism? And I've kept my mouth shut about these things my whole life. Every little illegal activity performed by either the teachers or the bullies, Mr. Perkins tried to get us all Gmail accounts on the computer labs and tried to teach us how to do it. And some of us were only 11 or 12 years old, which was illegal until he found out and then stopped before we all got our Gmail accounts. It's nothing to get mad about. They just shouldn't be teachers. It's not necessarily the internet so much as it is the neglectful, abusive jerk-offs. I've kept this a secret my whole life. I've covered up for them so that they could keep their jobs. I went along with them. I didn't want to be a hassle to anyone. I've been suicidal since 6th grade. I covered it up for him so I can do or say whatever I want about them, because this has gone too far. I've had enough. I'm sick of this. It drives me crazy. They assimilate you through humiliation in front of everyone, make the good guy the loser. I've had enough. They killed a child of God that day, and they're killing real children every day. They target kids who are not Johns and Smiths and teens, and kids who are outside of the scripted reality. They target specifically kids who are outside of the matrix, not in a simulation. The world, city hall, schools, other kids will kill if you're different and not the way they are. Nobody ever taught me how to throw a punch. No one ever told me that getting hit in the face would lead to drowsiness. Then they dragged me into a fight that ruined the rest of my life, and I didn't realize what it meant. To them, to me, I never learned from my mistakes, and no one to teach me really what matters or how to fight. They just threw me in there and not giving a fuck. They had a thing against me. I didn't fit their standards, so they didn't appreciate me. I wasn't as Irish as... Didn't I fucking do this? I think teachers should just get jobs as farmers. Law, school, then police are the 3 things that we need to get rid of. And the 3 things you need to fear in nature are 1, the government, 2, people, and 3, lions and tigers and bears. 3 people we need to get rid of: judges, lawyers, and politicians. Bonus, lawmakers, teachers, and police. Just in case I didn't say this before, teachers say if you're going to fight, you do it off school grounds, because we don't actually give a fuck about the well-being of your kid. We just profit off them, and we don't want to get sued. Suing them won't do anything. They'll just go right back to purging the weak and traumatizing the innocent. There's no way to hold them accountable. You have to show them to get them to give a fuck. And fuck off by making a statement. Just as the bullies have made an example out of us every day, you have to make them quit their job, destroy the system. You got that? 6 feet is lunging distance. You have to watch your back and be aware of your surroundings at all times. And don't let anyone within 6 or 7 feet without knowing their intentions. They could even be masking their intentions to gain your trust so that they can fuck with you in front of everyone. Back in the day, we used to treat other people's kids as if they were own. If your kid was crying at Walmart, you tell the parent to discipline them. If 2 kids are fighting, you break up the fight. If one kid is surrounded by a circle or group of other kids, you check up on them to see how or what they're doing. Speaking of spellcasting, Walmart. You turn the wall around in Walmart, it spells law, and you turn Mart, add a couple words, and it's martial. Martial law. But seriously, every once in a while I feel like I'm witnessing a murder. Every 6 or so months it feels like I'm on standby witnessing a ritual sacrifice. They like it when we know we're getting screwed and knowingly comply with them. It's a part of their ritual. Listen, when you will even have these fight experiences after you're done with school. There will still be bullies, but fight back against the corporate system. They operate on fear, keeping us in fear, keeping innocent us in. Listen, you'll even experience fights after you're done with school. There will still be bullies, but fight back against the corporate system. They operate on keeping us in fear, us being innocent kids, and you being compliant. We outnumber them 100 to 1, and if they knew that, it would be a threat against their It's like the freaking grasshopper from In a Bug's Life. They outnumber us 100 to 1. If they knew that, it would be a threat to our very way of life. Skunks eat grasshoppers. Mormon leader Herbert C. Kimmel compared the Mormon people to crickets or grasshoppers or something like that. I'm not on anyone's side. It's coercion. I'm on the side of the skunk. Your laws don't threaten me. Mao and Stalin killed more people than Hitler did. And, if we're in a simulation, why are they trying so hard to put us in one? Florida man was the first to receive treatment for a severed or damaged arm in a car crash. A company offered him a fully functional robotic prosthetic for a couple tens or thousands of dollars. You take it off while sleeping, driving, or in the shower. It connects to a ball joint with a fully built-in CPU that converts nerve and muscle activation signals from the brain, converting it to wiring through an adapter in the ball joint, maybe microchips too. And if you have a robo arm, here's my prediction, it'll be in a room or a box, a machine, like how the first computer was the size of a room. They'll call it the first matrix or the first simulated reality, your first simulation. Your conscience will be uploaded, your moves, senses, functions will all be uploaded to the machine, converted or adapted to wires, a fully simulated environment where you can live forever, where they tweak your perception of time and reality, and men and women will try and kill themselves and never die. It could look like a video game, could look like real life. We could even give you some of the settings yourself. A place where you never die, and you and your girlfriend could live happily ever after in separate pods, where you never touch, never hold her in your arms, where life is all an illusion and it'll never be real, but you always feel as though you're next to each other. You'll always know it. You always feel her next to you. Coercion is a form of grooming, which is also illegal. They see you as a bright-minded individual, knowing what will happen if they put you in a room with others. They know and they set you up so someone can ruin your life in front of everyone. That is why you must take the law into your own hands, because the law is not at the school or on any school premises. They will get away with it because teachers and bullies are operating on the utmost highest level of quantified immunity. They are not aware of how much they can get away with. You just gotta know how to make it hard for the adults to pinpoint who exactly did it. If there's enough bullies and kids on point of interest, then it'll be harder for the cameras to capture the criminal in charge, the verdict, especially in a dark, secluded spot where they can duck out of view of any people or cameras peering out of any line of sight. They lure them to the spot and get it over with. Parents that teach them, if you're going to break the law, make sure you just don't get caught. No one ever told me that getting hit in the face would lead to drowsiness. I can no longer distinguish the difference between what is socially acceptable and what's not. My life is like one big anime at this point, and my life will never be the same after attending Glendale Elementary. And just remember, no one wants to do anything about it because they're just kids. Another huge red flag, I couldn't think about the math work because I was too busy about how they could get away with it, I couldn't figure it out because I never had the laws directly presented to me, and how they can get away with that. Having kids join your club, your gun cult, having them partake in illegal activity, crime, without ever telling them it's illegal or a crime. Do's and don'ts become misunderstood. Spreading misinformation to confuse those who are good at heart, spreading messages of disinformation, misleading the weak. Aiding and abetting bullies with harmful and sadistic intent, literally using the world and all of its glory as a bribe, offering fame and riches to them as a diversion from asking the question, how does school get away with it? None of them asked the question because they didn't want to go against the system that gives them candy and vacation for being a communist, winning fights, and picking on easy targets. I was promised that they would teach me and I would learn and become smarter, not receive brain damage from a punch in school. Catfishing is a form of grooming. They led me to my own demise with promises of good, bright future and lead everyone there but me, forcing me to quit. The whole reason I'm making these videos is to address illegal disputes. Knowing someone is breaking the law and not saying or doing anything about it is a crime. For me not to say anything would be against the law. There would be an offense at least once a week at the elementary school that never got reported. They want what they are promised, so they don't go against the system that promised them the world, everything. It's intimidation. And ignorantia juris non exercet. It is when you know someone is doing something evil but you don't report it as a crime. The motive is money. General intent is purging the weak by persuading and tempting bribing the masses under a false position of authority. Blackmailing is against the kids so that they can make a bigger army. You need to stop. Gosh, you already crossed the line. You started a war that you're not backing out of, so expect a target on your back just as I have felt on mine every day. You rained hellfire upon me. You launched an attack, and you should feel just as I feel. A detriment to my brain, becoming disattached from everyone, and you should get punched in the face too, and know what it's like to have PTSD. In fact, every teacher should get punched in the face. Same with the bullies. I missed my shot to show everyone the fight in me. It's too late. They've extinguished my light, but there's still a chance to give them what they deserve. And I'm going to show them a piece of my mind if I ever see a teacher again. Same with cops and bullies. Leave us alone and leave the kids out of it. If this isn't a starting point for holding these scumbags accountable, then what is even the point of me? They damaged my brain. I can't think right, and I'm feeling like I'm going to get attacked every day. Discomfort has never left me since middle school. No repercussion, just look at the other direction. Me, another cover-up. Do something, don't let them get away with this. I mean, the first German scientist, his name was Dr. Anderson or Dr. Andrew R. something, the first German scientist who looked inside the vaccine was shot dead on live, saying that graphene shards shoot through the blood veins and vessels like knives, creating clots in the blood vessels. And he was presenting the blood and graphene nanochips particles and showing you the proof. I can't find the story anywhere because they covered it up. With the digital ID system, they're pushing for a future where everything is connected and anything you do is monitored. Total constant surveillance of every law-abiding citizen, where the store, the state lines, the airplane services, all the banking, jobs, work, even video games, it will all be interconnected, and the only real thing about it is your information, the most valuable info. And as a teacher, you're making kids get their picture taken every year of every one of them in school, in the yearbook. They've already got a picture of you. They make poison flu shots a requirement, and people from other countries watch cop videos on YouTube just to see what a tyrannical nanny state really looks like. Things in the universe we don't think about, that no one ever would turn back to, are always the things that the universe decides to change on us. Something that not a lot of people would come into contact with. Atoms move when there's no visual contact by eye or camera lens. They move and shift around on their own behind our backs. The whole position is just to go along with it. Their whole position is just to go along with it. They literally say it's just jumping through hoops. Yeah, beating up the innocent kids and purging the weaks for likes and attention and a vacation that they call suspension. Teaching kids and victims just to keep their mouths shut and go along with it as not to inconvenience the school. Sounds like a way of making kids out to be more of a monster than you actually are by taking your misdeeds of going along with the system and putting putting them onto everyone else like a hush fund. Keep your mouth shut to keep your jobs, just like me, your teacher, making your mistakes, casting your shadow, taking your mistakes, casting your shadow onto the whole class and an angel, a perfect child of God, and getting away with it. We don't need to sacrifice the work to save some innocent kid. We haven't got enough time just to extort, exploit, and coerce them and teach them it's okay. I did nothing to them after they forced me to be there and get publicly humiliated. Nicholas Romanov, the last Tsar of Russia. The city of Glendale was founded by Solomon Abraham in the 1800s, who were exalted by Tsar Alexander III because of anti-Semitism. But that's complete bullshit, because Romanov Tsar was the ruler of Russia, and he was the guy who him and his family were killed by the Bolshevik Zionist group that killed the Russian Empire, killing his whole family and even the family dog. We even have a sign up to this day in the city park right next to the strip. Solomon Abraham was a Jew of Russian origin who was exalted out of Russia because of anti-Semitism, because of Alexander III. He founded Glendale, Oregon, and that's the official narrative that we are given. There were also Native American tribes all around Glendale, Oregon, very nearby. Someone killed all of them after keeping them as a prisoner, took pictures of them with a bunch of white guys standing in front, and they killed the thousands of them and kept their wives, judging based on all the old photos. There was even a cave where a tribe of Native Americans were captured, and I mean a horde of them, an overload of their tribe were killed. You can still hear the music, the tribal music and chants if you leave town and ever so slightly go into the wilderness. It's not about the fact that they were Jews, but were they the first to enter Glendale? Or was it the Native Americans, or better yet, an advanced tribe of Native Americans? These are the questions that we need to be asking. The sign was right, but that doesn't take away from the point in questions. When I say Native Americans, I could be talking about any race of people that were here before Solomon and Abraham. And founded means that somebody built it, somebody found it, and at one point somebody else founded it. Yeah, same could be said of all towns and cities. And who are all these white guys hanging around in all these old photos? Very strange. The Native American women in all these old photos had no idea that they would be uploaded to the internet, but they thought, I don't know how many people are going to see this picture in the future, but for however many people do see this, I'm going to let you know, I am pissed. That's why all the Native American women are frowning in all these old photos, because they're trying to tell us something. They were angry and they didn't like what happened to them, and the system is still the result of assimilating all the good races. A child's mind is a very complex place, and you should never tamper with it. Along with this digital ID, everything you say and do will be uploaded to the internet. Everything you do or say in a video game or in person will be transferred to the online world, where they can deem you worthy of being a jihadist terror person by the definition of terrorism, using threats, violence, intimidation, or obtaining political approval for anti-government purposes is the definition of terrorism. So basically, they are the definition of terrorists, okay? And basically, to rise up against the government. It's the same thing, but just take out the whole, government part. It's the other way around. They are the terrorists. Except the anti-government part, they threaten kids by holding money and a job over their heads to assimilate the weak, and threaten the parents with police and a CPS asshole. Blackmail, you gotta get it. It's like holding car keys over someone's head and a job in the future, and saying you can't have this if you're not like us. Beating innocent kids so nobody else is innocent because they don't want to get beat too. If you're innocent and you're nice and you're an HVT in a low value community, expect everyone to be your enemy, because that's instilling fear to conform the masses. The whole point of the militia is to be malicious and take out the government when they get out of hand. It'll take 36 people to sacrifice to take out Hillary Clinton, but it would be a quick and efficient way to get them to fuck off. I literally had to fear getting killed by someone else's kid because they put us in such a dangerous environment where smart, handsome, young, beautiful kids are put in with ugly, undisciplined demons, and then there's a fight or a stabbing or a killing, and this will continue to happen as long as we're putting angels in with literal fucking demons. So don't blame it on me when it does. What if they took the old photos before the supposed date? The old buildings look like they were bombed from the inside. Were the cities evacuated, or were more people killed than the mainstream narrative gives us for all these old world fires? The whole point is, they give us two sides. Either way, we're controlled by the same group. The Zionists didn't like the Jews. The Romanovs were killed by the Bolsh who took command, but at the end of the day, it is all the same family. But how does that explain how they can get away with all this stuff? Why should a kid be forced to take orders from someone of false position of authority? They take pictures of your kid, and they get to keep the initial data from every picture they've ever taken. They keep the original file, and they charge you for the pictures. It's like they're broadcasting their energy. It's like Netflix, but for pedophilia. I agree with Conor O'Malley's pipe rock theory. They're stealing their pent-up sexual energy and broadcasting it to Hollywood. Teachers, staff, admin are only there to help assist the data collection program. They all go along with it. Seriously, no one have the balls to say anything about it? French, Middle English... Oh wait, that's for the next video. If you add up the amount of buildings that burnt in all the Great Fires, and add up the amount of people that died in the Great Fires from the 1700s to 1800s, you get London, 6 deaths, New York, 2 deaths, Chicago, 300 deaths, with a total of 31,490 buildings destroyed. That math does not add up. I come into this world knowing the definitions of words I've never heard before, and yet I still have to go to school even though I literally have a preset knowledge database programmed into my brain. Hey, I used to be a wordsmith in my past life. I came into this world with the preset knowledge database of all of these words programmed in my head, specifically the definitions of words that I've never come into contact with before. It's a very strange phenomenon that I'm able to defy words that I never knew the meaning of in this lifetime. What is with you people? The definition of ancillary is condoning or endorsing or being involved with an institution or corporation or industry that benefits on doing something illegal. You don't think that they know damn well what they're doing because they do. The fucked up thing is that every law they break is a form of grooming. They're grooming us into thinking it's okay when it isn't. You're a part of the Matrix. If you're a normie, you can get away with it, breaking the law as long as you're on their side, and they'll let you do it. Only the ones who are part of the Matrix can get away with it. I needed someone to explain this to me, the list of laws. Not that I needed a lawyer or attorney, lawmaker or judge to explain it, rather someone with the time on their hands to be able to conduct this list. Back and forth cops and robbers bullshit. They break all the laws that they use against us. These are the bad guys from any movie, any story, or any show. Any law, look at the bad aspects of that. That is what they do, and they make it as a front to make people and civilians look like the criminals and the crooks. The language they use to describe these laws is everything that they are, and it embodies the very essence of their existence. And remember, they like it when we knowingly roll over and go along with their program. It's a part of their ritual. That's why they use the aggressive terminology to describe them and the way that they are and the things that they do. Their social structure is terrorism that you benefit from. What is with this slow rollover that I don't understand? As long as I'm suffering and no one else, right? And if you're more like them, you're more likely to be accepted. If you're more different and unique in different aptitudes, you're more likely to be rejected from society. Money is the root of all evil. School is the foundation in which the seed has been planted. We must destroy the institution because that is the foundation. Anyhow, these kids have been destroying these school Chromebooks, sticking various random objects, foreign objects into it, and making them, blow up into a smoke bomb full of chemicals and metals. It's not over. We still have a chance to save the innocent kids. After everything that happened in my life, why did they keep me there? To paint the picture that I'm the loser bad guy and that they made me into, to keep me there, to ridicule me for losing? The walk of shame every day. It's the walk of insanity. I want things to be nice and good and rainbows and puppies and kitty cats and listen, I want everything to be nice and happy and rainbows and sparkly kitty cats and puppy dogs, but we can't get that future until we, destroy the institution. What can I say? Lawmakers who see this language and were taught at law school use to describe these laws and don't even think that, hey, this happened to me when I was younger, or that law got broke when I was a kid, and this happened to this kid back in my old school. Everybody likes the softball practice or volleyball coach, but no one's ever thinking about me. So just you wait. No one knows what I'm thinking or what I'm going to do. Because when something happens, I will serve justice as I see fit from now on, and serve and uphold the peace, because it's not about doing something about it. It's about taking and manifesting that mindset into the real world. Now, if they throw the first punch and you get hit, everything around you goes black for a split millisecond. And then a white light washes over you for a second, and you regain consciousness as you are confused, stumbling around, drowsy, dazed, and flustered. You beg for your life. If you're lucky, you might just be spared. But after you take the first hit, they have the choice to continue attacking you when you are down, and punch and continue to kick you when you're down. Nobody saw me the same after I had to plead for my life in front of another kid. No one sees me the same, not even the teacher. Everyone just accepts it, and if you ever got beat, your teacher does know about it because you're absent, and they have to be notified in order to know why the student is absent. Just like if you're sick and you're not there, the teacher takes roll in attendance to know that you're not there, and they call back the parent. Each material in the universe has its own resonantial frequency, which means that every material in the universe can be shattered with sound and, even acoustic levitation. They took They took Count Olorox from Castlevania and dressed him up like Prince and turned him into a homosexual. They took Alucard, who's the son of Dracula, flipped the name, and Alucard is Dracula in reverse, and they turned him into a bisexual who has intercourse with twins that look kind of like underage teenagers. He's not gay, he's not bisexual, he's a half-human vampire that slays monsters and skeletons. They're literally pixels on a screen. They're literally pixels on a screen. How can you sexualize that? Right? And Olorox is light-skinned too in the Netflix anime, right? Light purple skin in Satan. He has this war criminal trench coat that he wears. He looks like a fucking badass. How can someone sexualize pixels on a screen? And what audience is this directed towards? Notice what he's sitting on? Genghis Khan was white, and they portray him as this fat warrior emperor type. And if they attack an innocent kid, the bully usually gets away with it. But if an innocent kid defends himself, it's a federal offense charged as an adult domestic terrorist. So if you want to defend yourself, my advice is be ready to take out as many of them as you can. And the army. I was attacked and falsely imprisoned for 3 days after I was punched. You know? Anyhow, Little Big Planet Mandela Effect. So there was this song in Little Big Planet that I first unlocked in 2012. My cousins helped me unlock it. And it was called Alexander Nevsky Battle on the Ice. I remember that. They unlocked it for me, they helped me, and I saw the title of the song, I got to use it myself. I was happy. And not even a year later, because we got it mid-year, after 2012, 2013 comes along, and I see this for the second time. I don't know if I was playing Little Big Planet 1 or Little Big Planet 2, but I noticed that the name of the song had changed. I thought, well, that was a stupid update. Did they update the game or what? And I look, and it is The Battle on Ice. That was stupid because the other name sounds more badass, right? So, come a couple years later, and now they've changed it to Alexander Nevsky, The Battle on the Ice. It has changed twice now. See, this universe is constantly changing, just like Dracula's castle. They get friends and boyfriends and girlfriends, and they don't change. People never change, they only get old. Think of it this way, you could say that you changed all you want, but that doesn't make a difference. You ruined my life, guys. They threatened you with money and manipulated you into beating me, and now everyone loves you, and no one will ever love or appreciate me ever again. I never will get back that. Being made to beg for my life in front of everyone. I'm a troll wallflower, and the forced assimilation is still happening, and you have to stop it before it's too late. Okay? Terrorism is using threats, intimidation, violence, or political status to overthrow the government. By definition, they are terrorists. Okay? And I just don't like them pushing this stuff onto the kids. Okay? You plant that seed in the kid's head, and that's what they'll remember for the rest of your life. You reap what you sow. Every single one of these teachers that looks at the sheets of names of innocent kids who have been in fights and says it's okay as long as I'm making money, as long as there's no shooting, as long as we don't get sued. I want them to know my suffering. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I wanted to love everyone and be accepted, but none of you could accept me for who I am. You guys never let me make my point, never got a chance to make my opinion and voice my opinion. No, you threw me down to earth and cast me out like a bolt of lightning. I am the fallen star, and now there is a demon inside me, and a nigger inside of me, and every day feels like a fight. Gosh. I want them to know my suffering. I never wanted to hurt anyone, I just wanted to love everyone and be accepted, and none of you could accept me for who I am. You guys never let me make my point, you never let me voice my opinion, give me a chance to talk, and you drove me away like a Lamborghini. And now there is a demon inside me, and it feels like there's a fight coming every day. You have left me with that impression. You've left me in that dark place with no words to defend myself, because no words in any human language could possibly describe the evil, hateful, terrible, awful, sick, twisted, lying crimes against humanity. No law or sentence could ever hold them accountable for their actions, and you have left that stain on my mind. My fresh, growing, young mind, you're all turning black now. Nowadays, all these cops just sit around watching cop videos. They want you not to have your own way of thinking. Follow a communist protocol and never disobey commands. Good cops never follow orders, so if a good cop does something genuinely heroic, it never gets reported on. They want all the stupid people in control, and they need all they need is a pen and paper. They don't even need that. What I'm thinking is, I'm going to have to take out like a squad of 20 or 30 cops. because when I'm in school unarmed, if they ever decide to call the cops on me. I thought they would call the cops on me, have me removed from the fabric of reality. Cops don't need to exist. Their whole purpose is to use the law against us. We both need to put our ego down and realize that there is an oppressive force against us. We need to put aside our differences and fight together as a unified force against them. I've been punched, slapped, kicked, and spit on and verbally abused without a father and a teacher who chose the bully over me because she heard that I tried to defend myself. And you get what you effing deserve. You know, the teacher and the kids will all respect the bully for winning because everybody gonna respect the shooter. The first person ever to look in the COVID vaccine was a German doctor who was indeed shot dead and killed by German police while filming on a live stream while exposing what is in the vax. Wouldn't want that to be in the history books, right? Now, the universe is like Dracula's castle. It changes behind your back, and you can never just assume things about this universe because just when you think a certain way about this universe, it flips the script and throws a fucking curveball. They used to have kids fill up a cup halfway with water and hand one around to each kid, give them a paper, and ask them to fill out, is the glass half full or half empty? If you fill out half full, then, you're a positive thinker. But if you fill out half empty, then that means you're a negative thinker. So, if you fill the cup halfway, it's half full because you filled it. But if you are draining the water out of the cup halfway, then it's half empty because you've just emptied it. And why did they bring a literal seraphim to school? There is a line with these kids, and you have crossed it, taking literal angels to school for no other reasons than assimilating them to the whole. Why should I be mad at them? Because they give me every reason to fight back against the system, degrading, dehumanizing stupidity. So, what if the Holocaust was on the German people? The Aryans? So basically, what if a series of holocausts were launched throughout periods in history leading to the thinning out of our species' most intellectual whole races and cutting off all the direct roots so that we don't know who our ancestors are, what they're capable of, and how advanced they really were, and a certain percentage of the original Hebrews. There were also supposedly Chinese pioneer immigrants who helped build the railroads. Chinese pioneers, immigrants, some of them might have even been settlers, supposedly helped build these railroad systems and even built a couple railroad systems here in Glendale, Oregon. Now there's a place nearby in BLM lands called Shangri-La, and there is a tunnel system carved into the inside of the mountain with railroads on the inside. There is also a little cave nearby, but the whole mountain could be a melted castle. Now, this Chinese pioneer thing is just according to their narrative. But anyhow, I was the one who predicted the 2025 Super Bowl, and I got falsely imprisoned by that school for 3 days after I got slugged and didn't lay a finger on the kid who did it. And they got away with it, and I got PTSD. Exploitation, too. Exploitation. Assimilation by humiliation rituals brought on by neglectful teachers, admin, staff, principals with all the same goal. Ruination. Let your country control your mind. Let your country control your soul. Praise Lady Lucifer, the light bearer with moobs, and hail Columbia, the fallen evil sister of Christ. Pledge your allegiance with your right hand over your left titty, even though they teach police to aim for center mass torso because that's where the heart is. A school that was put in place by the race that raped and held Native American women captive, killing their husbands and stealing everything they had, and blamed it on the Pilgrims, your ancestors, making you draw hand turkeys in kindergarten. The race of the Red Dragon clan, the current-day Khazars. They're the Ashkenazi Khazarians. Red will be the new orange soon, my friend. The lizard seed has been planted in nearly all the most famous Native American well-known tribes, and there were even Scythians that had to travel across deserts and overseas to get here to escape being assimilated. They race mixed with the Indians, and it was hot just for them to get conquered again here in the Americas and get assimilated again, having their gold, weapons, and armor confiscated. Point is, there were Native American warriors and there were Scythian warriors, so they probably got along really well, and they even made a new race of dark-skinned redheads which got completely destroyed. They got this dark brown undertone and a blood red overtone to their hair. They built buildings together, and there were even natives buried with Nephilim. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
She looked at me like, oh, you think you're fucking better than ever. You know what it was, right? I know what the fucking grudge was that she had against me. And even though I talked a little bit stupidly and retardedly, even though I had a few little speech problems of articulating, I still had a vocabulary. And I think that my vocabulary, because of my preset of knowledge, maybe there were, not saying like most of the time, not saying all the time, but I think there were little snippets where she realized, fuck, he's fucking smarter than me. And he doesn't want to talk to anybody about it. And he doesn't want to, like, bring these things out. He comes to me, and what am I supposed to do? Just fucking grade it? And I didn't get the best grades because I got brain damage. And every day was a nightmare to me. But that's what it was. She's the language arts teacher. And she sees that I do such a fucking good job. And have such a vocabulary. I'm performing at a fucking I'm performing at basically a high school, no, a college level. I'm performing at college level in middle school. And she can't fucking stand that shit where I have my moments. That's why they have to make me out to be the fucking monster. The hue cycle, okay? The hue cycle doesn't affect white or black. White, I don't consider it a shade because it's all colors, but it's not affected by the hue cycle. So when I turn this, the bandana changes colors, but white and black stay the same.
Every one of them, it's fucking justified. If my teacher is looking at me because she didn't know if I really started the fight. She didn't fucking ask me if I started the fucking fight. She didn't ask me if I fucking started it. Therefore, why is she giving me this look like she knows what happened? Fucking bitch.
Kids about the Holocaust, and we have to teach kids about Hitler and all this stuff, because if we don't, then they will grow up to be the next Hitler. That little blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby, or that little red-headed white baby, that little baby, he's gonna grow up to kill people. He's gonna grow up to want to kill people if we don't send him to school with all the other pricks, the other dicks. Everyone was a fucking dick, dude. So Mrs. Holes, the language arts teacher, was the one that said, why are you going to school unless you're going to school for your education and learning aspect of it? I say, you're forced to go, you stupid bitch, and the fights. This destruction is the only tale we tell. And she said this after middle school, after she looked at me like, yeah, you got what you fucking deserved, right? Picking sides. So clearly it is about the fights, and nothing else.
Child that is born, there is a direct threat against the parent. If you don't send your kid to school, we will threaten you with the truancy officer and CPS. If that's luring, by the way, they threaten you so that they can lure your kid, coerce, whatever you want to call it, it's 2 in 1. That is blackmailing the parent, and this entire thing is solicitation, okay? That's blackmail, and this whole thing is solicitation for every kid that's born. So when I say don't worry about this, adults get older, they learn to care less. It's not that they care less. It's that it's so much easier for them to not give a fuck about the thing the kids are going through. Innocent fucking kids. It's easier for them not to really care about the innocent kids. So when I say I don't give a fuck, I mean I don't give a fuck about 99, 95%, the whole whatever you want to call it, the hive mind. Well, you've got this older generation, my mom's generation, no fights. Every kid brought a knife to school in my mom's generation. There was no stabbing. Generation right under hers, ooh, there was stabbings. There were murders at school. There was killing at school. It happens. Oh, it just happens. Sometimes. It just happens sometimes. Then you got my generation. My generation, yeah, there were killings and stabbings at school, but my generation was the generation of the school fight club. Fights every week in every fucking school. That was my generation. So you're gonna have the generation right undermined. And where's this going? Well, you got the slop and chicken jockey. If you don't like the slop and chicken jockey, you turn to the fights. The school fights are gonna turn to slop. Man, Michael is a man. Michelle Obama's a man. Nancy Pelosi might be a man. And who else? Melinda Gates is probably a man. And whoever Joe Biden was with is probably a man. They hire all men for these roles and positions. If you look at pictures from the 1800s, all of these women are men. A lot of these women are men in photos from the 1800s. Men dressed up as women who are obviously men. See this shit? See that fucking kid? That was me when I was younger. See that kid? Fuck that fucking kid. Fuck that piece of shit because he couldn't fucking defend himself. It's not about what they are doing, but it's about what they could be doing, because what they could be doing is what they are doing. They are pulling all the stops and all the facets to infiltrate the hive mind, to infiltrate the masses, to manipulate. In the future, he will change the law to where the law suits the individual and not the other way around. The individual as the whole, okay, the collective hive mind, and in Donald Trump's new future, the wars will end as a business, and they will be no more need for civil war, world war. They will move to the surface, and every man will be able to fight his own wars and fight and kill for what he believes in. Now, that will help serve 95% of the people. But in doing so, they will have launched war against us, and it will be made into a business and institutionalized. Nobody wanted Common Core, but these teachers, man, I mean, they forced it upon them, and there were teachers that resigned because of it and left their jobs. Teachers have to go to college. They have to study their whole lives in order to get into that position. Glendale, Oregon was founded by this Jew, Solomon Abraham, because of anti-Semitism, was expelled from Russia under the rule of Alexander III. He made it to here with his business partner, and his wife almost named the town Julia after his wife, but then named it to Glendale for whatever business reasons or whatever. I don't know if it's diplomatic immunity or bureaucratic immunity, but it's supposed to be a political thing. Like executive branches and Secretary of State or Defense or whatever, divisions and fucking divisions and sectors that have higher ranks within those sectors. And I thought that diplomatic immunity was supposed to be reserved for politicians and their families. But that's just a bullshit way, because politics is bullshit. That's just a bullshit. It's a one-sided coin. Their way of giving teachers and bullies the ability to become lawless gods, who are all just frauds.